Hey, what's up you guys? It's AJ back with another video. In this video, we are going to set up a character stats script so that we can use it to update the character's strength, speed, health, armor, etc. We are now going to be using this script from the item manager instead of having instances of each of the fighter, health, and third person character for speed, etc. in the item manager. This also is going to allow us to use these fields when we set up some way to see these stats on a UI. Most of the functionalities are gonna remain the same, except we are just gonna change the way we access it. Now we are gonna kind of go through the character stats script instead of directly from the item manager to each of the fighter, health, and so and so. But however, this video is gonna be a different one, as I kind of forgot to record it when I was typing in the code. So we are gonna have the code right away, and I'm gonna try to explain everything as we go along. So without further ado, let's get started. So guys, this is our character stats script. In the character stats, we are going to have an instance of the health, fighter, and the third person controller, because the armor and the health is going to come from health, the strength is going to come from fighter, and the speed is going to come from third person character. And we are going to have 8 fields here. One for the base health, then the modified health, base armor, modified armor, base strength, modified strength, and base speed, modified speed. So the base, all the base health, armor, strength, speed, everything is going to be the starting stats that the character is going to begin the game with. So we just set the health over here to get component health, because we are going to also put the character stats script on a character, each of the playable characters, in case you are having multiple characters. So yeah, and the fighter is going to come from get component fighter, TPC is going to come from get component third person character. And the base health, I have just created a method in the health script to get the starting health. So let's see what that is. Go to implementation, and we can see that it just returns the start health of the character. And here we have just set the start health to 100 as a default. So that's that. Now we come back here. Base armor is gonna do basically the same thing. So right click, go to implementation, and we got the base armor, which is gonna return the armor. And armor is nothing but in our previous video we kind of had a variable called mod, which we used to modify the damage the player is gonna take in when he is dealt with an attack. So I just renamed it as armor. So right click, rename, that's how we rename a field, and set it to 0 as a default, because when we start the game we don't want the armor on the player. We want the player to pick up some certain items or weapons, and so that he gets a extra protection which comes with the item, and so on. So that's it for getting the base armor. Now to get the base strength, let's go to implementation, and we have the get base strength method here in the fighter script. So it just returns a variable strength, and what is strength. So here, instead of having damage 1, 2, 3, etc., I just renamed them to damage factor 1, damage factor 2, damage factor 3. I'll let you know what that is in a bit. But the strength is just another field. So I am just gonna set the starting strength of the character to 100. So he's gonna have a base strength 100 when the game begins. Now the damage factors is gonna be how much amount of the strength is gonna be used by the player for each of the attacks. So say for attack 1 we have hit 1. Yeah, here we are gonna add up strength modifiers, fleeting strength modifier. I'll get to that in a bit, but let's just assume they are 0 in the beginning. And I'm just gonna divide the strength. So I'm just gonna divide the strength by the damage factor 1 in case of hit 0, 1, and I'm gonna divide it by damage factor 2 in case of hit 2, and in case of hit 3 I'm gonna divide it by damage factor 3. So we have a total strength of 100, and if we divide that by damage factor 1, we are gonna get, yeah, and the damage factor is 50 by default here. So we are just gonna get 2. So the first attack is gonna give a damage of 2 to the enemy, and the second attack is gonna have a damage of 4 as the damage factor. Here's 25, and the third attack is gonna have a damage of 10 because the damage factor 3 is 10, which I set as default. You can change these, of course, in the Unity editor if you want to. Then what else? Yeah, the strength modifier and the fleeting strength modifier are 2 new fields which I have added here. So the strength modifier, both of these I'm just gonna set it to 0 in the beginning. Strength modifier is gonna be used when the player picks up a weapon and a certain amount of attack strength comes with the weapon. So we can modify the attack strength of the player using that, and this is not gonna be something that fades away after a certain period of time. That's where the fleeting strength modifier comes in, because fleeting strength modifier is gonna last for only a few seconds. Say the player gets a power up item or something, he eats it, then the power up lasts for 10 seconds or so. So that's where we use the fleeting strength modifier. And in case where the player is gonna pick up a sword or something which gives him an extra strength boost, he's gonna use the strength modifier. And we kind of did the same thing with an array in the previous video, where we had an array like mod 0, 1, 2, which modified the attack strength or the damage just caused by the player when he attacks with it. So earlier we had damage 1, 2 and 3 for each of the attacks, and we were kind of modifying that with each of the modifier for attack 1, 2 and 3. Now we are just gonna have a single strength modifier and a fleeting strength modifier to do that. So let's do that here. So earlier we kind of had a modifier and earlier we kind of had 3 different modifiers for each of the damages. Now we are gonna need just one, because instead of changing each of the damages, now we are gonna change the strength from which the damage is derived from. So yeah, we can do that. So I'm just gonna check if the damage modifier which comes in is a percentage value. So if it is a percentage value, we are gonna just multiply it with the strength divided by 100 and set that to the modifier. Then we are gonna check if it has a lasting time. So that is when the player picks up a chicken, like he gets a power boost for a certain amount of time, that time is going to come here. And if the lasting time that we pass on to here is 0, then we can assume that there is no lasting time, so the modified strength is going to last until the player switches weapon. So in case of lasting time, we are going to change the fleeting strength modifier and then call the coroutine power up with lasting time and the modifier. I think earlier we called it with 3 different modifiers because each of the damages were changed separately. Now we just need to pass in this single modifier. So if we go to the power up, we are gonna see that we are gonna wait for the lasting time, that time we pass in here. Then we are just gonna reset the strength modifier. Actually, here should be fleeting strength modifier. So let's change that. And yeah. So if the damage modifier is say 10, so here we are gonna add it to the fleeting strength modifier, which is 0. So now the fleeting strength modifier is gonna be 10. Then when we get to this line here, we are just gonna reduce that much amount of the modified amount from the fleeting strength modifier, and the fleeting strength goes back to 0. And this is kind of gonna work when if we like stack many power-ups and use them. And here we have a call to the update strength method, which we have in the character stats script. So we kind of have 2 update strengths in the character stats. One which calls the fighter damage modifier. So let's go to implementation here, and this is kind of the thing that I explained it now. So here we are passing in the damage modifier that we want to add to the strength, then if it is a percentage or not, and if we are going to have a lasting time or not, these values. Then we are going to make the changes over here and here, and then we are going to return the modified strength. Now in case it is a fleeting strength modifier, we want to change the strength back, right, when the power up goes away. That's why we have got this line over here where we just call update strength, which is another method in the character stats, but it just takes in a modify strength 1 parameter. Here we were using 3 parameters. Here we were using 3 parameters, and it's just gonna set the modified strength to the value that is passed on from there. And here again, if we go to the damage modifier, here we can see in the end we are returning the total strength that is on the player at the time after adding all the strength modifier or the fleeting strength modifier. So that's going to be a sum of strength modifier and fleeting strength modifier. And the way we now change all the attack strength is we are just going to add the strength modifier and fleeting strength modifier, then divided by the damage factor, which I just explained. Now in case of the update health method, let's go to implementation, see how that works. So here we just got the same method we used in the previous video. Nothing is gonna change here except for the fact that here it was void in the previous video. Now we are gonna return the health points back. So that's about it. And we are gonna set the modified health over here to the value that we get from running this method. Now in case of the armor modifier, update armor method, let's just go to implementation and check that out. And here again we are just gonna return the armor value. Here it was void in the previous video and we just changed it to float because we are gonna return the armor value. So I don't think we need this dot armor over here because in the previous video we were using mod as the field. Now I just renamed it to armor, so that's why we were having the mod, because we were passing in the float also named mod, so that's why we had this dot mod in the previous video. So now we are just gonna set the armor to mod incremented in case of last string modifier. Then we are just gonna return the armor value. And in case there is a last string period, say we have hidden an item that gives us a armor modifier for a short period of time, then we are gonna go to the coroutine called protection. I think we also set this up in the previous video. So even here we don't need this dot armor, we just gonna need armor minus equal to mod, so we are reducing that much amount which we added in here. And once the armor modifier effect has wore off, we are gonna set the modified armor in the character stats to be the value we passed down from there. So here again we are gonna have two methods having the same name but different parameters. Now one thing we did not set up in the previous video was a speed modifier, but I kind of told we can use the move speed multiplier here in the third person character to change the speed of the player. So what we have here is we got a method which returns the base speed of the player, which is basically just the m underscore move speed multiplier that we have. So that is being called at the start in the character stats to set the base speed. So tpc dot get base speed, that is that. And for the update speed we are gonna use speed modifier method. So let's go to implementation. Here we are gonna check if there is a lasting time, and in case there is a lasting time we are gonna add the new speed mod to the m underscore move speed multiplier. This kind of works in the same way we did the health modifier in the previous video. We had a old health mod and a new health mod. So the new health mod is gonna replace the health modifier on the player if he was already using a weapon with a health modifier with the new health modifier. So that's same thing is gonna happen in here. So in case the player is already using a weapon with the speed modifier on it, then we are gonna say we reduce the move speed modifier by the old speed mod which was already on the player, then we just add the new speed mod. This is in case of weapons, and the lasting time is gonna happen only when we have picked up an item which is something we can consume and that gives a speed boost for a certain amount of time. So that's how this works. So in that case we are not going to have an old speed modifier because we don't want to take away anything from the player's speed when we add the new speed modifier. So we're just going to add it to the move speed multiplier axis and call a coroutine called the speed boost, which would kind of reduce the move speed multiplier by the modified amount after a certain time has passed. Then here we also have set the speed modifier method to a float so that we can return the move speed multiplier to the character stats and update the modified speed over here. Then in case of fleeting speed modifiers, we are gonna again call the update speed method in the character stats, which is another method having the same name but different number of parameters. So here we are just gonna get the modified speed after the speed has worn off, and we are gonna set it to modified speed. Now one thing we gotta do is we gotta add a speed modifier variable in the equipment script. Now we go to item manager. We kind of had a instance for health, so I have removed that, and we have added a character stats instance, so we can use the methods inside the character stats to update the health, strength, armor, speed, etc. And we don't need a instance of the third person character over here to change the speed, but we are gonna still use the fighter instance here, at least for now, because we are using it to get the animator to work, so that's gonna be needed. Now here, when we use an item, I have changed the way we use it. We have just changed the method we were calling. I think here we were calling health modifier from the health script directly. Now I'm just gonna call the update health method from character stats, so that's gonna update the health, set the modified health to the updated health value, and that's it. And same goes for everything else, like the update strength. We were kind of using damage modifier method. So if we check here, we are still kind of using the fighter.damage modifier, but we are gonna first invoke the update strength. Then from there we are gonna call the damage modifier on the fighter script and set the modified strength in the character stats to that value after updating the strength. So this is gonna provide us a way of finding out the changes in the base health, armor, strength, and speed, and maybe even display this in our UI. Yeah, and in the item manager, even in cases when we were equipping a new item, like a weapon, which gives a modified strength, armor, speed, we kind of just changed the way we call the method. First, I think here we were using health modifier. Here we were using, actually we weren't using anything for the speed. So now we added this line of code to do that. And guys, I have made the speed items not to have a percentage value. If you wanna add the speed modifier to have a percentage value faster, then you can obviously go ahead and do that. Here in the item manager, we are passing 0 here in case of the update speed method, because we don't want a lasting time when we are keeping an item that gives a player a speed boost. We want that speed boost not to wear off after a certain period of time, so that's why we are passing 0 here. And same with the case of update strength. I think here we were calling damage modifier from the fighter script, and here we were calling armor modifier from the health script. So I just changed those around to first call the update strength method and call the damage modifier or the armor modifier from there on. So that is pretty much it. So now we go back to Unity and let's test this out. So guys, I have made the health portion a speed item and set the modifier to 10, modifier to 3, and lasting time to 10. And for the chicken leg, I have set it to be a power up item. The modifier is going to be 20 and lasting time is going to be 10. For the blade, I have also set it up to a power up item. Check each percent and damage modifier to 50. So let's try this out. So yeah guys, we have got everything. Now we check the player. I have attached the character stats script on each of these player characters. So the base strength is 100, base speed is 1, base health is 100, modified strength is also 100 because we haven't added anything to that. The base armor 0, modified armor 0. Now if we try to pick this sword up, we are going to see that the modified health has gone to 150 and the modified strength has gone to 150. That is because I think we had damage modifier and health modifier on the sword to be 50. So that's okay. So yeah guys, the attack strength has changed as well. Now if we drop the sword, we can see that first 2, 4 and 10. Now if we pick this sword up, the attack strength is going to be 3, 6 and 15. So that's cool. Now let's try adding another power up item. So this is Yeah, the chicken leg is a power up item. So if we add this and go check here, the strength has gone up to 170. After 10 seconds, we are gonna see this wear off. So guys, that's worn off now. So if we say eat all 4 of these, let's try eat all 4 of these at a time, and our strength has gone to 230. So that's pretty cool. So the strength has increased, as you can see. The damage is popping out of the character's the punching bag's head. And if you were watching closely on the modified strength, you can see that the number has gone back to 150 after 10 seconds has passed. Now let's say we drink this health potion, but actually in our case we have set it up to be a speed boost for now. So the base speed is 1 and modified is speed is 1. Now if we drink this health potion, we are gonna see that there's a speed boost and the character is actually moving faster. Now once the speed has worn off, speed boost has worn off, we can see that the character is moving with its usual speed. Let's say we drink one more. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And you can check the rest of the things out on your own. I guess that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Hope you liked it. See you. Bye.